What's up everyone, my name is Chirag and today I am going to show how to use the 2.6 Hog Cycle deck. If you want to know why this deck is dominating the meta, then please watch entire video. So we all know that Hog Rider is the best win condition in Clash Royale since it released, and this deck is very fast in cycle. There is no perfect way to play this deck and it is a required high skill cap. If your opponent know your deck with a starting of half minutes, but in this video we are focused on tips and tricks for this deck. So let's start with the deck. In this deck we have a Hog Rider, Musketeer, Ice Golem, Fireball, Cannon, the Log, Skeleton and the Ice Spirit. There is a small analysis for this card. The first card is Hog Rider. The best win condition, always difficult to opponent to handle this card. Can be used as a defensive card for kite another tank and you can easily push in 2 lanes. The second card is a Musketeer, the most valuable card in this deck, Tank Killer Air Counter. Save her for the card that can hurt you. Don't give Fireball, Poison and Lightning value. The third card is Ice Golem. If there is a Hog deck and Ice Golem is not there, that is not a perfect Hog deck. The most valuable card for your defense, kiting and pair with Hog. It can switch the lane of P.E.K.K.A, Giant Skeleton or many tanks. Save for minion hordes and skeleton army, or save for defensive purpose. The fourth card is Fireball. Your secondary win condition, your damage dealing card when your Hog can't reach the tower and when you want to finish low HP tower, throw the Fireball. Fireball prediction is very helpful when your opponent put all that troops at a one place. Cannon, your one and only best cheap defensive building. Cannon has a counter most of troops in Clash Royale. Cannon can pull every tower targeting troops and give some time for defense. Cheaper cycle to save your Musketeer or put Hog in another lane. The Log, best legendary card for a reason, no need for introduction. You can use with Hog, Musketeer and Fireball. Counter every small low HP troops. If have not a max level of your Log, replace with Zap. Use when needed. If your opponent use a big deck, then use Log wisely. Skeleton, one elixir common card can make huge difference if played smartly. You can use in defense and offense both. Use for kite the troop. Group them to your Hog. Your opponent will take massive damage if skeleton not counter properly. Cards that can make counter by surrounding them with the skeleton is Wizard, Sparky, Executioner, Baller, etc. Ice Spirit, another one elixir common card. Hog plus Ice Spirit is a deadly combo. If execute well and know your opponent deck, it can take out the balloon if you kite it with cannon. It can very handy when opponent push many troops and you have Ice Spirit and Fireball. This combo is wipe out many troops. Pros of this deck: 2.6 very cheap and best Hog Cycle deck. Best defense, counter many meta, only one legendary, easily upgrade to max level. Cons for this deck: it is a very cheap deck that cannot counter push decks. Only one damage dealing card. Hard matchup with the big beatdown deck. General tips and tricks: if you use 2. Hog Cycle deck, then keep in mind don't let your opponent to outcycle your Hog or make massive counter push. If they counter your Hog cheaply, then you can switch lane and confuse your opponent to wait for you to put Hog next time, and switching lane with Hog is a better play that you can pressure both lane. Predicted Fireball is also great choice if they put Barbarian or Minion Horde on your Hog. You can use Cannon for counter a graveyard. Use your Musketeer wisely because you have only one damage dealing card after Hog and Fireball. Consider switching lanes against Golem, Lava Hound, Graveyard, Minor Control and Giant decks. If there is an Inferno Tower or Bomb Tower is placed for your Hog, Hog can't pass them and go to tower, so outcycle their Inferno or Bomb Tower, but it is not possible because this deck have no other tank. Instead of outcycle, go with Spell Cycle on their tower. Defend it in your side. If they have cheap cycle deck like include Cannon and Tesla, simply go with Hog plus Fireball or Hog plus Ice Golem and build pressure. If you have cheap card in hand and there is some unit approaching that you're gonna deal over 100 damage, play it. One of the most important part of using this deck is learning how to use the one elixir card efficiently. Make sure make space in a 2 card when deploy. Like when you put Musketeer, always keep space between tower to avoid spoil damage. Game plan. Starting of the match, first 1 minute. The ideal starting to play is either cycle a 1 elixir card or put Hog at a breach without support to know your opponent deck, or you can put Hog plus 1 elixir card. If your opponent not responds, then try Ice Golem and Hog at a breach for early damage. If they invest a card in back, cycle back to your Hog and rush another lane, forcing them to split their elixir into both lane. If they rush at a breach, you ideally want to shut their push down for a positive elixir trade, meanwhile not allowing them to deal more damage than you did. If they defend with something heavy like P.E.K.K.A. and then counter push, you can easily shut it down and be at the elixir lead with surviving troops and with the Hog Rider in ready for another push. You also want to identify whether you have to advantage or disadvantage in this specific matchup and how you are going to play it. Mid-game. By this point, you should identify what deck you are facing and maybe you even defend a push. There is a least complicated phase, but often that one where you deal most damage. The late game. Not allowing your opponent to build a huge push in a back and take your tower. Keep your spell cycle on tower and defend in your side. Because 2.6 elixir cheap cycle deck, there are more options to defend a push with the elixir trade. Matchups. Golem. The best way to stop a big golem push is never let it happen. Ideally, you should also try to identify what kind of spells they have. The poison, barbarian barrel, tornado lightning. Be very aggressive and try to deny as much damage as possible. Graveyard. Keep up the pressure with Hogs. Never allow them to build up a death ball push with the 2 tanks and graveyard and poison. Even it is just a Hog and a log, it still interrupts their plans. Force them to react. Defend the graveyard with cannons. 3 Musketeer. There is a simple matchup if you don't make any mistake. Fireball pumps. Attack when they invest and pull everything towards the middle of your arena. On defense, save your cannon for a battle ram and get value for your fireballs. Log bait. First you wanna figure out what kind of bait deck they are running. Is it the classic with Inferno Tower in Knight, or is it with a newer variation running Rascals and Prince? You will have to better matchup versus variation without building, since it is easier for you to go on offense and get down to spell cycle range. Which, speaking of spell cycle, it is a big part of this match. Always fireball princesses if you can also clip a tower so you don't have to deal with them later. Save your log for a goblin barrel. That's it for me. I hope you learned something new about this deck in this video. Make sure to subscribe for more deck guide like this. That is for now. See you in next Clash Royale video. Peace.